Good morning, everybody. We're just going to get started in 1 or 2 more minutes, just waiting for a few other people to jump on. If you can hear me, just make sure to go into the chat area and just click on the little hand icon at the bottom. That way I know my microphone's getting through to everybody. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so good morning, everybody. My name is Max Sadlowski. I work with BentoSMB, and the Great Waterway has asked us to do a few different webinars over the next couple months to look at some of the marketing initiatives that attraction-based businesses in the Great Waterway area should be taking a look at. I'm just going to run through a few things, including an introduction, an agenda, and kind of how to use this webinar program, because there's a few things that I just want to point out as well. So in terms of the next kind of hour, what we're going to focus on is content marketing for attraction-based businesses. Content marketing is not too difficult to do. I think a lot of you probably already do it. And if you look in the poll area, you'll see that there's already a poll open there, just so I can kind of flesh out a little bit of experience levels for everybody. The goal for this particular webinar is to have each of you walk away with a bit of a better understanding of what content marketing is, why it's important, and how to make the most of it with your business. I've really geared this presentation to attraction-based businesses as well, with examples of some of the people in the local area doing it right. So in terms of agenda, we're going to look at what is content marketing, why is content marketing important, how can I use content marketing, what are some examples of good content marketing, and questions and hopefully the right answers for you. So as you can see, we have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Before we get into the content, I just want to mention a few things about this tool. So we use BigMarker for webinars. It's what you're connected to right now and able to hear me and see the screen. So what I wanted to let you know is that there's a webinar recording happening right now. So this is all going to be recorded, and the Great Waterway will send this out to everybody as well, so you can look at this down the road. Additionally, there's a file upload. So on the right-hand panel, you'll see a handout section at the end. There's two pieces of information in there, the CM guide and the content marketing webinar. So the second PDF is these exact slides. And the first one is a guide that we've used with a lot of different clients. That's from the Content Marketing Institute. It's a really great kind of 16-page guide as to how to go through everything. It's something to definitely take a look at. Q&A, if you have questions, just go ahead and put them in the Q&A area. I probably won't look at all of them until the end of the webinar when we do the Q&A, but feel free to throw them in there as you think of them. They'll be posted, and then I'll go in and actually take a look at them at the end. And then the last piece is polls. So you'll see in that slide panel, there's some polls there. I'm going to add 2 more during the course of the webinar as well, so you can take a look and kind of interact that way. So let's get into it. What is content marketing? I think a lot of people, think of content marketing as blogging or putting out articles or producing videos. So this is a really good quote that I think aligns very well with what content marketing really is and highlights kind of the 4 points that I want to really kind of focus on today. So content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. I've highlighted kind of 4 points there, and I'm going to go through each of those a little bit more specifically. So strategic marketing approach is the first one. And I think this is where a lot of people that do content marketing seem to kind of falter a little bit. It needs to be thought out. It needs to be planned. You need to have specific goals. It's not something where you can just say, let's write some blog posts and throw them out there. It's not just writing articles. It's not just producing videos and putting them out there. It's not sharing things. It's all of that in a strategic fashion. The second piece is producing valuable, relevant, and consistent content. So there's kind of 3 pieces to that. So keeping in mind your audience, delivering media that they're going to actually enjoy, that they're going to find valuable, that they're going to look at and potentially share with others. It needs to be consistent with your brand and with everything else that's going on with your business, and needs to be relevant to the current time frame. The fourth one is clearly defined audience. And again, this is probably another area that I think a lot of people haven't necessarily focused enough time on. Creating personas and asking yourself, who are you targeting your content to? What are their interests? What are their goals? Knowing your audience is really critical to the success of a good content marketing campaign. And then the last point is profitable customer action. And the profitable is not as important as just customer action is. People need to have direction when they're at the end of a blog article or they're watching a video at the end of the video. Content marketing approaches need a way to get to the bottom of the marketing funnel and move them towards that. So all these points are important to having a really great content marketing system. Without even one of those areas, your campaigns may not deliver the right results. So some of you are probably saying, no, but what really is content marketing? So I'm going to kind of explain it with a little video.
Every day, more and more people are using search engines and social media to search for content and socialize on the web. In order for your business to succeed, you need to drive these people to your website. But how? Content marketing can help you do this. Content marketing is the process of creating, publishing, and promoting custom content for marketing purposes on a regular basis. We are the experts in content marketing. We make your brand's content marketing easy. Here's how it works. Say you have a website for custom-made cakes. To get you more business, we create content about custom cake making. This content can be informative infographics, well-written articles, interesting videos, blogs, or even pictures. It has to be unique and interesting to grab people's attention. It has to be search engine optimized to rank high in search engines. After we create your content, it's published on your website and other popular sites. Because your content is search engine optimized with proper search tags and keywords, people find your website with tons of interesting content when looking for information on custom-made cakes. After you update your website with regular quality content, your visitors keep coming back and stay longer. This helps you build more subscribers for your brand. People share your content on social media with others, and you get more visitors to your site. This will result in more traffic, higher link popularity, and higher search engine ranks. It will result in increased conversion rates and more business for you. So, if you're looking to increase traffic to your website, social engagement, page views, and generate more revenue for your business, we can help you achieve it. Visit our website to learn more about us.
So what I really like about that particular video is it kind of illustrates a few things. One, it goes through what content marketing really is, but it also is great at illustrating that company creating content marketing that hits all the points that we were talking about. So that video was a unique, relevant, and valuable piece of information. It had a call to action at the end that got us to potentially go to their website, take a look at the rest of their content, and maybe hire them or make a purchasing decision. It was targeted towards an audience that would enjoy that type of content. It's done a very good job of doing all of those pieces. So not only did it explain content marketing, but it is a very good example of a piece of content marketing. Let me show you one other video as well that really highlights the importance of information for people as well.
Maybe we should...
Oh, there's no need. Red oak. See? It's not so difficult, is it?
I'd go for the white oak if I were you. And with the Mercier Generations finish, your floors will last even longer. That wasn't so difficult, was it?
So again, that's a really good example of just the content marketing and specifically explaining to people that the information that you're going to get from coming into that location and having a conversation with their experts is really critical to making a proper decision for when you're buying flooring, for example. So that kind of content marketing is, again, hitting all those points and illustrating that they are experts in their field and that you need to get more information from somebody in one of their stores. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, then why is content marketing important? And why is it more important than just publishing blog posts and things like that? The question I like to ask is, would you be able to market your business without photos or any other content like video or written copy? Probably not. So you're already probably doing some content marketing, but what I typically tell people is that they need to go a little bit further, specifically in the planning strategy side and understanding the audiences that they're trying to market to. So a proper good content marketing campaign is going to kind of give you four major kind of points. Increase website traffic, so posting in multiple places, including social media, but also other blogs and other article areas that relate to your product or service that will lead back to your website, attracts new visitors. Search engine optimization, so Google increases your search ranking when you publish more regular content to your website, specifically if it's tagged well and it's optimized for search engines. You're going to get a better social reach. So major social networks are more likely to show content it deems interesting, and people share content that they enjoy on those social networks. It's also the future of marketing. It's clear from the industry that a proper content marketing strategy and implementation is really driving results for a lot of different businesses. And just the fact that you've attended a webinar specifically on content marketing shows that it is important to your business. So how can I use content marketing, or how can you use content marketing? So I'm going to give two examples of two different businesses that might be in the area here. So the first example is a local attraction that's a tree trekking park. They're looking to attract more people from the surrounding area, as well as tourists traveling through the area and through the region. So the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to think out the content they're going to need and develop a plan for posting this content. They're going to promote the content related to tree trekking and what people can do at their place of business. So this could be videos of people climbing, instructors talking about best ways to trek, infographics on how to conquer their entire park in one day. There's lots of different examples that can be given there. The content needs to be unique. It needs to be interesting to their audience. Fit people from ages 18 to 50 is kind of likely the area that they're going to want to target. They may also want to specialize some marketing to people that have kids, specifically kids programs and things like that. The content needs to be search engine optimized so people can find it. Tags, meta information, image alt information, descriptions, all of those are really important and a lot of people leave those out. A lot of web developers leave those out as well. The content then needs to be posted on their site and other places that will lead back to your website. So social media is important, but guest posts on other related sites and places tourists search for activities is also important. So making sure it's out on other blogs that may be related to tree trekking, or other blogs that are in the area showcasing tourist attractions, things like that. They also need to post the content regularly. I think a lot of businesses start to post content. They don't necessarily have the resources to do it on a consistent basis. Content really needs to be posted in a consistent fashion and available on the website and in other places. The last point is just reviewing paid advertising strategy to get this content a little bit further than just through search. I'm sure most of you know at this point that organic reach on things like Facebook and other social media platforms is tapering off very quickly for small businesses. So having a good paid strategy is a good idea to help promote content and reach things further. So the second example that I want to kind of talk about is a bed and breakfast. They have a lake view. It's an amazing kind of peaceful property, and they want to attract more visitors, again, from the surrounding area, tourists, things like that. For them to properly market their content, they're going to think of the content they're going to need and develop a plan for posting this content. It's no different than any other business. I've highlighted the ones specifically that I feel are really consistent. They're going to leverage the assets that they have and showcase them. So they may highlight the unique beauty of the property, of the rooms, show how they prepare a nice breakfast for 20 guests day after day, recipes they and their guests love, things to do on the property, lots of different things that would relate to what they're doing. They could also showcase items related to just running a B&B and connecting with other B&Bs in the area. The content should be unique, it needs to be interesting to the audience. Knowledge of the audience is really important here, and it's a really good indicator of that. So the content for different people will need to be created. What's important to a 25-year-old is not necessarily the same thing as a 75-year-old. So you want content that works for both of your different audiences, not one or the other. So the content needs to be search engine optimized so people can find it, tags, meta information, everything like that. The content then also needs to be posted on their site and other places that will lead back to their website. They need to post their content on a regular basis, and they need to review their paid advertising strategy. So in these two examples, things are not very different other than the content types and the audiences. The rest of everything needs to kind of flow in the same fashion. So like I said, in the handouts area, there's a resource there that we found really useful for clients. It's from the Content Marketing Institute. If you Google that, you'll come up with their page. It's asking a lot of really good questions and gives you a checklist of things to answer. It kind of works through a bit of a workflow in terms of developing a content marketing plan. So it's a really great idea to take a look at that and download that file. Here are some of the more important questions that you'll want to ask yourself when generating content related to your plan. So does it deliver value to your client or to your potential client? Is there something in it that they're going to get out of it and say, that was valuable to me? A lot of businesses are afraid to give out that information or give out, expert information. And definitely there's lots of businesses that put it behind some sort of gateway. So you have to put in your email address or something like that. There's a ton of businesses that don't do that. And typically the results are better. People don't want to have to put their information in to get content. They just want to start watching content or reading content. Next point is it on brand? So is it going to resonate with the brand? Is it going to connect with the rest of the items that you're creating? Does it tell a story? Stories are really important, especially in videos. You saw in that the wood flooring video, it told a story of their search for the perfect flooring. That can be really enticing for people and make it really fun to watch those videos. Is the story something your audience will be interested in? Again, it relates back to your specific audience. If you're creating something that your audience isn't going to be interested in, then there's really no point of doing that. And then is it consistent with the other materials? This kind of goes along with, is it on brand, but has it worked with everything else, and does it work in line with other items that you're doing in that campaign? So another area that a lot of businesses have a hard time with content marketing is getting business buy-in and getting executive buy-in. So a lot of people will want to invest resources, invest some money in advertising, invest in an outside company to create content for them. Whatever the need may be, there's definitely resources, time, money that it needs to go towards creating content, creating that initial plan and that strategy. So a lot of times businesses need to develop a business case for it. So developing a business case is not only going to help you get buy-in from the higher ups or the managers or the bosses, but it also makes the implementation of that entire strategy a lot easier because you have things laid out and you have some goals already outlined. So here are the highlighted points you'll want to think about and answer in your business case. What is the need? So what goals are you looking to achieve with the content campaign? I think that that's really important. Another question to kind of ask yourself in there is not only what is the need, but what is the need of your client or the audience that you're going to be advertising to? Not so much as what do you want to sell them, what is their actual need? How large is that need is the second point. So is there going to be enough of an audience to support your efforts? Is there going to be enough of a group of people that would potentially be interested in this particular product or service that you're trying to sell that's going to be able to support the case that you're making? Then you want to get a list of who's going to be involved, what's going to need to be created, what resources are needed, time, money, who's going to do what. That's really important, and I think that that can help really streamline the higher ups looking at something like a business case like this. The fourth point is, why is this project more important than others? All the time, I mean, every time in small business, there's always different projects going on. I've never met a business that has too many resources. Everybody has limited resources, so we need to try to figure out, why is this project more important than others? Why should resources be given to it instead of to another project? And the last point are, what are the risks? What are the indicators of success and failure? And what is the cut and run point? When do we stop and say this isn't working? Or when are we going to review everything? Those are all going to, answers to all those questions are really going to help yourself as well as anybody else looking at the project determine what makes sense for that particular piece. So I'll talk about kind of two local examples. Kingston Canadian Film Fest. I don't know if anybody on the call made it out to any of their showings over the last little bit, but at the beginning of March, they had a film fest here in Kingston. It's a really good example of content marketing that pushed the festival kind of to success and attract people from all over the world. It focused on providing content related to films from across Canada. I believe they say it's the largest film festival, Canadian film festival in the world. They created a lot of content ahead of time. They created a lot of content afterwards and during the festival, and they post that in lots of different areas. Drawing people back to the website where there's additional content that can be consumed, and there's call to actions to purchase tickets and different pieces like that. So there was focus placed on getting their content out to other sources and then driving that traffic back to the site. Another local example is Improbable Escapes. And if you haven't looked at Improbable Escapes, I highly recommend doing that. They're also a Kingston-based business. And they do a very good job of marketing and content marketing. So they specifically just launched a video blog called Behind the Keys. They give examples of how they build games. They go through customer reviews. They talk about selling different products to other game rooms. And they give away kind of some of the secrets or kind of some of the mystery of the escape rooms. To a lot of people, that is really interesting content, and it drives people back to their website and potentially leads to greater sales on their website. So those are kind of two really good examples of that content and how it can be impactful for a business. So I'll focus a little bit more on what your next steps are. So now that we've gone through a lot of this and talked about a lot of these different pieces, we're going to talk about how you can kind of proceed with this. So the first thing is to create a business plan. We talked about that. We've included that handout for you. You want to get a solid plan in place, get the resources that are needed to build a great content strategy, and develop a strategy around that content. The second piece that's really important is figuring out your audience. So determining who your audience is, what they like, where they're from, what they need. Don't be afraid to get personal as well. You can also develop a set of personas. I've given 2 examples in a later slide of tools that you can use, free resources that you can use to help build personas. You can also just search for persona development system on Google, and it'll include some resources for your business plan to do this properly. Understanding the personas of who you're advertising towards and the audience that you want to be looking at is really important, and it's where a lot of businesses don't take enough time to really evaluate. So the third piece is, now that you have your business plan, maybe you've presented it, you have your audience, you have your resources from the higher ups. The next thing you need to do is to develop your strategy. So sit down and plan what content you need, how you're going to create it, and how you're going to get it out into the world. How is it going to get people back to your website? And then point 4 is to implement consistently. So take your strategy that you've developed and you've worked on, and then take that and turn it into an implementation plan. So use your strategy, plan, consistent implementation guide. Build this to however long that makes sense for your organization. We have one that we do kind of a 3 to 4 week, generally a month long, and it's a good start. It's not going to be the same for all organizations. Once you're kind of halfway through, start to create your next implementation guide and look at some of the things that have happened in the past that have worked and some of the things that haven't. Write it all down, get buy-in from the resources you have, and actually get moving on making that a priority. So like I said, there's some additional tools here. 3 really great tools that I think are really good. Extensio is a really kind of interesting tool. It's free to start with, but quickly turns into a paid platform. They do have a template built into their platform that allows you to create personas and kind of takes you step by step through the process. It is a cloud-based app, so you can share it with people and show people the different personas and make it available online to the rest of your organization. So that link is there, and you can sign up for that. It's a great kind of little tool. It's also a great tool for a lot of other things, so I highly recommend checking it out. Second one is HubSpot Academy. There's a link there specifically to how to create personas, but in general, the HubSpot Academy has a ton of content related to marketing, and is a very good example of content marketing in general. HubSpot does a lot of that, and they focused a lot on generating inbound leads through their content. So it's a really great tool, just the fact that it's HubSpot Academy, but this specific resource will help you build a good persona. Using that with the Extensio piece back and forth is typically where we have a lot of our clients start. So it's something that we would recommend you take a look at. And then the last one is called CoSchedule. It's not a free app, but it does save a lot of time, saves us a ton of time, but it allows you to manage content in a calendar that's all cloud-based, that's set up specifically for managing content. You can use other tools like Trello or other project management tools, but CoSchedule is really focused just on content marketing. It has a scheduling system built in for social media, similar to Hootsuite or Buffer or something else that you might use. And it has an analytics dashboard that allows you to see, who's opening what, where they're going, and how they're consuming content. So another a tool that's not on this list would be Hootsuite. If you're not familiar with Hootsuite, it is a social media scheduling tool that allows you to schedule posts across Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any kind of other social media platforms. It recently was updated as well to allow for automatic posting to Instagram for business accounts. Previously, you had to it was a difficult system to actually put stuff onto Instagram on a recurring basis through the platform. Now it's completely automated, just as it is for Facebook or anything else. So that can be set up as well to help you just save time and save resources. So I'm going to jump into the Q&A kind of piece here and see if people have some questions. If you want to throw some questions in, then I can take a look at answering them. If there's any particular slides that you want me to go through again, please let me know. I'm happy to go back and look at those. While you are all thinking about questions, I'm going to add 2 more polls as well that would be great if you guys could answer these questions. So the 2 polls that are being added are, what do you think you're currently doing very well? And what do you think you're currently not doing very well when it comes to content marketing? So for the question, what part of content marketing do you feel you are not doing very well? The results are definitely mixed, but it's the winner is D, giving content consumers a defined path to taking action. So that's very interesting because that's typically an area where a lot of businesses don't have too much of a difficulty with, but definitely can understand it. So creating calls to action and making sure people have the right links and things like that are really important. If you watch any YouTube videos of people that have large numbers of subscribers, at the end of every single video, they're always telling people to like the video, to click on subscribe, to check out their website. You can put in little bubbles directly within the videos to actually have something that somebody can click on and go to and take advantage of that way. Making sure at the bottom of a article you have additional articles for them. It's not always that they have to take a path to a purchase. You want them just to continue to consume content and stay on your website and provide value that way. So it can be just a series of, here's the next post to read at the bottom of a blog post. You want to give people defined paths though, and make sure that you're calling it out very visibly to those people. Running Facebook ads, having the text click here at the end of a post can dramatically increase the number of people that click on your ad, just because it's kind of a psychological piece. So the other poll, what part of content marketing do you feel you're doing very well? So the big winner there is creating valuable and interesting content. I don't think a lot of businesses have a difficulty with creating that content. There's a lot of businesses that are happy to create that content. They enjoy creating that content. I'm sure every single one of you would probably enjoy more resources for creating that content and creating more of that content so that you can share it more, or creating better quality content as well. So definitely a great place that people are doing a good job in. Okay, so I have one question from Carly. It's evident that video is one of the top ways to create engaging content marketing right now. Do you have any insight into what other key avenues we should be focusing on? I think what's important is it's a little bit different for every single business. What is important, like you said, is video. People are watching video, consuming video. People watch Netflix all the time. Ads on Facebook that are working the best are video-based advertising. People want to consume things that they don't necessarily have to read, and typically video allows you to get more across to people in a quicker fashion than having them read a blog post or something like that. That's not to say that articles or infographics or any of the other types of content are not as important, but video is definitely a key winner. In terms of insight on other avenues, I think what a lot of people do is they create video, but they don't bundle it into the rest of the content very well. Creating a video and then posting that on your website is great, but if you have other content that can go along with that, like infographics or images or text, that can help to really make that content even more engaging, as well as make it accessible for people that can't necessarily watch the video. I hope that answers the question, Carly. So we'll give everybody else a couple more minutes to answer some questions. If you do have additional questions after the webinar, please feel free to let me know. You can reach me at my email address there. Like I said, the handouts are here in the webinar. It has been recorded and will be uploaded and sent out by the Great Waterway, so you have access to it as you move forward with your content marketing strategy and all those different pieces. Do you have one other question here from Jen? So planning and creating strategies is difficult. Team of one person. Yep. Much like a small business owner, what advice can you give me in managing content marketing on top of all the other parts of the job? That's a great question. I was once a one-person show and hired some people, and now I don't do any of our social media or a lot of our content marketing because it's handed off to somebody else. So I definitely understand how you need to kind of transition to that. But to make it work, some of the things that I did that helped me, make sure you have a social media scheduling tool. So Hootsuite or CoSchedule or Buffer or one of the other tools that's out there. There's probably hundreds of them now. Really, really important. That's going to help you stay consistent with delivering content out to those different social media networks and making sure that there's always visibility. In terms of creating that content, what I was doing was I was sticking to typically Sunday evenings or Monday mornings and blocking time. So I would restart my computer. I would get rid of all of the distractions. I would turn off my email. I would make sure that my phone was turned off. And I would just focus for 2 to 3 hours on getting content ready to go and getting it out there. Using tools like Canva. If you've never heard of Canva, I can add that in as well. But Canva allows you to create social graphics very quickly through a drag and drop interface, and is free to use. Writing content was slightly difficult. I'm not a big writer, but definitely can be part of that process. I found that when it was very much focused in a 2 to 3 hour time block, I scheduled it all, and I didn't really have to think about it for the rest of the week other than responding to comments and things like that on social media. That was a really great way of just getting that content out there. So we had somebody ask, our content audience are seniors and gardening type people. So not all seniors are on Facebook, but they do visit websites. Is it a good idea to post news and valuable information on our website as well? The answer to that is absolutely. Any content that you're creating and distributing anywhere should always also be on your website. So if you are posting to gardeningmagazine.com or something like that, and you have a guest post there, there should always be a link back to that same content on your own site. And generating those links back to your site is really important for just search engine optimization as well. You always want to focus on putting that content on your website because that's going to help your search rankings go up and make sure that as people come to the website, there's more information there for them to consume, specifically if it wasn't the content that they were consuming before. A lot of times you'll go to a website, you'll read one blog post, and there'll be a button at the bottom that will catch your eye, or another blog post that will catch your eye, and you'll end up looking at that and looking at the next steps. Another question. So can you speak on editorial calendars as well, defining the difference between social publishing tools like Hootsuite and an editorial calendar? Absolutely. So CoSchedule is a really good example of a editorial calendar that has a social publishing piece built in, whereas Hootsuite, like you said, is a social publishing tool, really focused on that and a little bit more on kind of the analytics and very social focused or organic social focused. There's a lot of other pieces to Hootsuite that are important as well, but definitely that's the main piece that people use it for, is scheduling. There's a lot of different ways that you can set up an editorial calendar. A lot of people just use Excel and share that across the board. Some people use Google Calendar and create a new calendar directly within their system. You can set it up however you want. But you're right, an editorial calendar is very different than just a scheduling tool like Hootsuite. And an editorial calendar is something that I would highly recommend when planning out your content and actually delivering that content. Okay. And I thought we had one more question, but it looks like it was removed. So if there's any other questions, like I said, throw them in there. I'll stay on the call here for another couple minutes to make sure that we're able to answer all the questions that you have. If you do have any other specific questions, please feel free to email us as well or hit us up on social media. And like I said, the webinar will be available to you as a recording shortly. All right, we have one other question. So effective marketing question. Can you direct us to a website that states the effectiveness of several different advertising methods? We're a small business and would like to place our budget in effective media. I can't point you to a specific website that would tell you that, even if one did exist. I would say probably most sites like that wouldn't typically give you the specific advertising method that works because it's different for every single business and it's different for every single audience. What would probably be a better approach to that is to look at what you would be able to produce, what you want to be producing, what your audience is going to be looking for, and then searching out to see if that has worked for other businesses that are close to you. Another really great tool for that is just searching out other businesses that are doing content marketing in an effective manner. A lot of businesses are happy to share what they're doing, how they're doing it. So if you are a B&B, for example, you would go to other bed and breakfasts in the area. It doesn't even have to be in the area. It can be in the United States. It can be in the UK. It can be anywhere around the world. And look at different examples of people doing a good job of actually delivering that content, what content they're delivering, where they're seeing results. A lot of that you can gauge based on the number of people that like their Instagram post or things like that. You can also get in touch with a lot of those people and say, hey, I'm a bed and breakfast on the other side of the world. I'd really like to learn more about what you're doing and how you found it effective. There's a lot of people that are willing to help on that side of things as well. We found that to work very well for a lot of businesses, especially small businesses where you're one or two people. People are very accommodating and helpful when it comes to that stuff. All right, so we're going to finish up the webinar now. Thank you everybody for attending. Like I said, you'll get an email from the Great Waterway as soon as this is ready to go for the recording, so you can go through it again if you'd like. The handouts will also be distributed through that email, and you will be able to log in and download those from here at any point. Thanks again for coming out today and listening to the webinar. We hope that it was that was helpful for you and your business. And like I said, feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions that you'd like us to look at. Thanks, everybody.